Hello! Hello, hello. If somebody is in the chat, let me know, because I'm going to use you to make sure I have my audio balanced for this bad boy. For the original Bad Boys that Choose Your Own Adventure. We're the Bad Boys that Choose Your Own Adventure. We're the Bad Boys of Choose Your Own Adventure. It's the Bad Boys of Choose Your Own Adventure. It's time for the Bad Boys of Choose Your Own Adventure. It's time for the Bad Boys of Choose Your Own Adventure. But I don't know if this audio is the proper volume. Like, this is what it's going to sound like. On my real player.
Operator on the other end will dispatch police, fire, and medical personnel.
So I just need to know if that's a proper volume. Once some people are in this dang old chat. But maybe nobody will go in the chat. It's okay. We don't stream to lots of people here at Duckfeed.tv. So that could be the case. But if I'm able to, I want to check and see if this is properly volumed before. You're sorry, and you can say so. When I played that that audio CD, you could hear it okay. I just want to make sure I can adjust on the fly as well. So not a big deal, but I just want to make sure everybody can hear it before we get into it. Sorry about first time catching live. What book is this? This time I'm not doing a book, weirdly enough. This time I am doing Terror Tracks, Track of the Vampire. This is a audio CD Choose Your Own Adventure. This is a series that was put out by TSR back in the 90s when they had more money than sense. And I've already done one. I did the one with werewolves. This is the vampire one. And the werewolf one was very funny. And I'm hoping this one is also very funny. But I wanted a chance to rest my voice a little bit because I just got back from vacation, and I don't want to really strain that voice. So sorry about missing last week since I was traveling. But yeah, let's see what's going on. Let's go ahead and get it. And I can, like I said, I can make adjustments on the fly. So just let me know in chat, and then when we get to choosing, kind of turning points, we'll talk about it. And that's Choose Your Illusion. 2 for this week, and we're going to try to get in an hour. Last one went a little bit long, so I don't think Cole's planning to stream after this though, so it should be okay. Let's get into it with track 1 of the Track of the Vampire. feel like this needed this minute of ambient sounds here. It's a good idea.
Everyone knows to dial 911 in case of emergency. Everyone knows that a 911 operator on the other end will dispatch police, fire, and medical personnel to rescue you. Few, however, know what happens to the strange calls of a supernatural nature.
Oh God! You won't believe it! He wasn't cool! He was sucking a human eyeball!
These calls are referred to a covert agency known as TRACS. TRACS is an acronym for Trace, Research, Analyze, and Exterminate. That's where you come in. You control a network of operatives who secretly investigate mysterious events of which the general public has no knowledge. You pursue a particularly inhuman type of villain. The undead, the alien, the ghoul. The type of villain the general public doesn't even believe exists. Here is how it works. Listen carefully. Emergency calls fielded nationwide by 911 operators are referred to you. Deployment operations are handed down from TRACS command. You process and select the options. From this point on, you will deal with the TRACS interface computer. I will turn you over to it now.
Welcome to TRACS Interface. First, an equipment checkout. Observe CD player currently playing disc. Consult LCD display. It should inform you that you are on track 1.
I have no LCD display. Oh, like on the
Good.
CD player.
Now, advance to track 3. If you do not know how, pause deck and consult your manual. Advance to track 3.
Alright, so we're going to track 3. I have these are all on a website, even though I have the CD there, but I'm going to leave that sealed. And I'm going to go over into track 3 in my real player here. And I also think these are real 911 calls as well. Let's see what happens in track 3 here.
Good. You have successfully reached track 3. Track 5. Begin monitoring TRACS hotline. Repeat. Track 5. Begin monitoring TRACS hotline. Failure to advance to track 5 will result in suspension of TRACS control.
Uh-oh. There's 10 seconds left on that track. Okay, so now we're going to track 5. This one's making us jump around a lot. There are about 53 tracks total, so...
The following phone call was referred to us seconds ago. Please analyze and activate.
911, what is your emergency? Please, calm down and speak slowly and clearly. I am here to help. TRACS. Use of word vampire indicates possible extraordinary circumstances. Please advise.
We accept mission. Phone call terminated. Track 4. Digitally reanalyze phone call. Track 6. Dispatch operative to location.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and
So much like dead space at the end of these.
need help. Hang up.
So we'll do 4. We'll analyze. I am going to ask you guys for things, but analyzing just gives you additional information. I don't know that there's a way to fail these. The last one we did, possible extraordinary use of the word vampire. But the last one, I don't think there was a way to fail. So let's see. Let's go to track 4 here.
911, what is your emergency? Please,
here.
please, calm down and speak slowly and clearly. I am here to help.
He's a vampire! My God, he's trying to take my blood!
Tracks. Use of word vampire indicates possible extraordinary circumstances. Please advise.
We accept mission.
You have violated the blood code.
Give me that!
No, the blood is mine. Oh, God, it is spilled all over.
Phone call terminated. Track 4. Digitally reanalyze phone call. Track 6. Dispatch operative to location.
If you'd like to make a call,
It's weird. It doesn't give us any additional information there. I didn't hear too much more in the second recording that I didn't hear in the first one. It's that music though. That's interesting. It might be like a club or something. So you have no choice now but to dispatch tracks agents. Now, if you haven't listened to or watched the first video of these, the 2 track agents are incredible, and I'm hoping they're recurring characters. So let's find out with track 6 here.
Track's officer is at apartment of Vivian Kloss. Prepare for broadcast.
Okay, Trax, I'm going in the apartment unless you've got any objections. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Trax, I'm in. Hold it, law enforcement. Identify yourself.
The hell with you! Yeah, just threw a bottle at me. Hands up or I'll shoot now! I said freeze, mister! No, stop!
Oh my God. This boy's dumber than I thought. He must have dropped 12 stories. Alright, Trax, why don't you send out a coroner? No, check that. Send a garbage collector with a hefty bag and a spatula. I'm looking down. What is this? Nobody on the street, there's plenty of glass. Nothing. I repeat, Trax, I see nothing. What the hell happened to this guy?
Track 7. Search street for body. Track 12. Search apartment.
Okay. Before we continue, I have to. One of my speakers fell down while I was on vacation. I gotta grab it real quick because I can't hear that much. But while I'm doing that, you guys decide: are we gonna search the apartment, or are we gonna go down and search for the body down in the alley? You guys decide. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay. So are we going smash glass? Hide behind. Yep, that's our boy. So I think it was. Let me go back. I think it was track. It told us what to do here.
I'm looking down. What is this?
Track 7.
7.
Search street for
The street?
body. Track 12. Search apartment.
So 7 or 12. Do we want apartment for 12? I bet you he's left too because we know he's a vampire. I'm gonna go with that as well. That would be my instinct. Let's search the apartment.
Describe scene.
Okay, Trax, this place is a mess. Too bad. Looks like a romantic night was in progress. Candles, music, with a couple of saps. I'm turning on the light. Wait a minute, we got a cold one on the couch there. It's like a woman, late 20s. Beautiful. Once was, anyway. I'm checking for pulse. Nah, she's dead as a doornail. Shining light in her eyes. Nah, no reaction.
Check mouth for fangs.
This is the part of my job that I absolutely love. Yeah, we got some fangs here. Get off of me!
Emergency. Dispatch backup.
I said stop or I'll shoot!
Officer, are you conscious? Checking heart rate.
Trax officer to Trax command. I'm alive. I repeat, I'm alive. I don't know how, but looks like our little vamp flew the coop. I've been out with tougher dames, but I can see why nobody takes her out on a second date.
Track 7 to investigate street. Track 8 to continue to search apartment.
Yeah, that was intense. I say we continue with the apartment. We're going to get some evidence. We're going to do some detective stuff. This guy's a real loose cannon, but it's worth a shot, I think. So let's go track 8 here.
Now we're searching her purse and address book.
Check today's entry.
Man, this chick had a lot of dates. Every single night. Oh man, what a tramp. Wait a minute, I get it.
Trampire.
Paycheck here from the late date dating service. Looks like a scam for a bunch of losers who can't get a real date.
Track 10. Continue to investigate apartment. Track 11. Access archives for late date commercial.
We have to hear that commercial, right? Track 11, like the late date commercial. Because that might not even make us leave the apartment. It just means that we might listen to that commercial. So I want to hear late date. But yeah, this guy. This is the guy. And also Trampire. I don't know why he didn't call her a Trampire. Okay, let's do 11 here.
Work the swing shift? Can't date until real late? Call Late Date and find the right mate. It's 1-800-LATDATE.
Call Late Date for those who only get out in the dead of the night.
My love life used to do the graveyard shift until I found out about Late Date.
Call Late Date. The later, the better.
I thought it was too late for me until I called Late Date.
Call late date for a great date.
Call Late Date anytime.
That's 1-800-LATDATE.
I love late date.
Track 10. Continue investigating apartment.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't gonna. It was just a little side thing. So now we know about late date. Let's check out the rest of this apartment.
Well, here's an interesting bit of business here. A doctor's bag. It says return to Metro County Hospital. Bunch of weird equipment, bottles of blood, and... So that's what the idiot threw at me.
Track 13 to late date dating service. Track 26 to Metro County Hospital.
So 1326. 1326. 13 is we investigate the dating service, which sounds pretty funny to me. 26 if we go to the hospital because he found a hospital bag that had some weird stuff in it. So my instincts say 13, say late date, but what do you guys think? I like how the same music is in every track. It's just different volumes. Yeah, 13 is also, yeah, we have to check out this dating service. I like late date. I like the idea of late date. Okay, let's do it. I'll play my RMJ file.
Trax, I'm out in front of Late Date. Small, nondescript place. Drive by 1 million of them every day. Kind of an ashtray. Not much activity, a couple of cars. Rubes coming and going. I'm getting out.
Track 14, Scout Exterior. Track 19, Immediately enter building and investigate.
So we gotta scout the exterior, right? We're not an idiot. Let's do that.
Okay, I'm walking around the building. Got some flashy cars around here. Checking the window. 3 hotsy-totsies with more curves than a roller coaster in a swanked-out office. These girls are as pretty as stilettos and probably twice as deadly. Unbelievable. The one that's talking? It's Vivian. The fang job that jumped me.
Use surveillance microphone.
I did it the way we always do it. Over drinks. I verified his story. He's a bachelor, lives alone, a doctor. He won't be missed for days. It all jived with the records.
When did he slash you?
I tore at his jugular, but it was dry. Then he starts screaming at me. And I says, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't know he was one of us.
And that's when he attacked you?
He went straight for my throat.
And you called 911 at that point?
Yeah. What else was I gonna do? If I hadn't, I'd be chilling in a dumpster right now. Those O'Rourke types are crude dudes.
Mercedes just pulled in. His lights lit me up like a neon sign. I don't think the bozo even saw me. I don't believe it. It's that sick dog from the apartment.
Track 15. Continue surveillance. Track 16. Apprehend.
Okay. We just learned a lot of stuff. So this is a vampire dating service. Dating service that is by lady vampires who are as hot as a stiletto and twice as deadly. Pop tops, or you call them trop tops or something like that. And they, but one of them actually ran into another vampire. It's pretty interesting. So this guy pulled up. It's the same guy we threw out the window. We can either continue watching or we can try to arrest him. Also, to answer your question, Spooderman, we do not have a Duckfeed Discord. We had one temporarily when we did Team Fortress 2 for the show, but we have a Slack that is accessible for patrons. That is through Patreon, not through Twitch. And we probably won't do a Discord because we have the Slack, and they're really similar, and running both and doing the upkeep for both we've already got a pretty big community on the Slack, so we don't want to splinter the community in half. So I think we're Slack boys. But and I had to listen to those options again. I don't remember which number it is, but we can as far as the vampire dating service, we can either continue to watch and see what this guy does, going back to the dating service that sent a vampire to a vampire fight, or we can attempt to apprehend him. What do you guys think? Surveillance. I kind of want to see what happens too, and I feel like trying to, hey, how's it going, Steve? Right? Hey, Steve. I think trying to apprehend him is a good way for us to die early on, or at least I just want to see. I want to hear her go juggala and use the Harley Quinn voice more in a vampire. So going home is not an option. We only have the two. We only ever get the two. Let me go back and see what surveillance is. What track that is.
I believe it.
Track 15. Continue surveillance. Track 16.
15 is what we want. All right, let's check this out.
Impudent American brats. You have no respect for tradition. I'm going to demand this refund. They better not get me in any trouble. I can't believe they treat people like this. I am a paying customer.
He's going into the front office. Do we want him for questioning, or do I give him the hard goodbye? My vote says we save the taxpayers a lot of money.
Track 16. Apprehend. Track 17. Enter late date. Track 18. Call backup before entering.
Okay. So 16, 17, 18. Yeah, he's so what it is he's an old like Transylvania vampire, and these new vampires he doesn't. So that's actually kind of a clever conceit, even though it's not scary. So we can either try to arrest him, we can go inside, or we can go get backup. What do you guys think? Backup is for wieners. I like it. Should we go inside? That's track 17, I think. Just to go inside ourselves, or should we try to apprehend him while we're out here? I feel like if we try to go inside, I want to see what happens, but also then there's tons of vampires. And the way that, again, the rules of Choose Your Illusion, I mean, once the story ends, the story ends. So that's it. We don't get to hear what happens next. Okay. Let's try to apprehend him, which I think is 16. Let me just double check that real quick.
Before entering. Call backup before entering. Enter late date. Track 18. Call backup before.
Yeah, so track 16 is going to be apprehend. Let's try to get him.
You're under arrest, pal. But feel free to resist.
Oh, God, this is outrageous. What is the meaning of this? I've done nothing. This is outrageous. My papers are all in order.
Why don't you put your hands on the hood of your car?
You are making a terrible mistake.
Eat that, you son of a...
What's going on out here? The cop, let's cut each other. Don't let him get away this time.
Signal breaking up.
Tracks! I'm going down, Tracks! Tracks need back up!
Oh no.
Code red. Code red. Officer down. Microphone still functioning.
I love the dark meat. Nevertheless, my mind has not changed. I dislike the tawdry manner in which you operate in this country. What was she thinking, calling the police?
Give me a break. I've only been undead a month.
What the hell were you doing, trying to rip a fellow vamp?
I still want a refund. And a fresh girl for next time.
When we finish chowing, eating, let's torch this place. This is a Trax guy. The cops will be all over us like a cheap suit.
Vital signs terminated. Track 46. Search Dr. Hemos's residence.
Search Dr. Hemos's. No, it doesn't said track 46 search Dr. Hemos's residence, but I don't know who Dr. Hemos is. Maybe it won't allow you to die, because I imagine like you're a kid who likes D&D and you buy one of these things and they're $15 and you just really just get to play it once. So let's see what happens, track 46. It might just be continuing as if we didn't die. So let's see. Or we wake up as a vampire.
I'm at the house. Looks like he left in a hurry. Holy, I don't believe it. There's a huge bat. It's flying into the house.
Track 50. Wait for tactical backup and surround Dr. Hemos' home. Track 51. Go in alone after Dr. Hemos.
Okay. That's what it's doing, is it's skipping us to the end, which is kind of a bummer. Like, we don't know who Dr. Hemos is. So 50 is we wait for backup. 51 is we go in alone. I figure we stick with this go in alone plan, and we have the suicidal track agents. Yeah, it didn't work. We're due.
Officer, report.
All right, I'm in Dr. Hemos' house again. I guess the maid hasn't stopped by yet. Hold it, I hear something. Going in to check. Freeze!
Oh, please. Either put that thing away or use it.
Trax, I've cornered Hemos in his den. He's packing some sort of satchel.
I'm right here. You can ask me what I'm doing. You don't have to speak of me as if I'm an absent third party.
All right, stay where you are. Come any closer and I'll...
Relax, officer. I'm an ally.
You're a vampire.
True, but an intelligent vampire. I avoid taking human life. Besides, it only increases the competition by creating more vampires.
What about the lady you attacked earlier this evening?
That dear officer was no lady. She was a vampire like a demoness. She and the others were encroaching on my territory. You can see the damage they did to my home when they tried to eliminate me. So I eliminated them.
What about Otis Lee Suggs?
Alas, I had no idea my serum would have that effect on him. Ah, what's the saying? The cavalry arrives?
Alright, put down the satchel.
Just some cash, officer. A new passport, a fresh change of socks, some whole blood. I can't start a new life, or should I say, a new unlife, with nothing. Remember, some of us are on your side.
Get away from that window! He's changing into a man bat! Dan, he's just smashed through the window! I've got him in my sights. I'm gonna take the shot.
Hold your fire.
Hold my fire?
Dr. Hemos has proved an effective ally. Trax authorizes his survival for now. Go to track 53.
Man bat.
Your first mission with Trax is over.
What?
If you wish to experience a new Trax adventure, please insert disc number 2, Track of the Werewolf. I'm waiting. If you do not have disc number 2, Track of the Werewolf, go purchase it.
Appropriate ending to that. I'm a little bit disappointed that it let us die so easily early on. Like, we made a foolish decision, but we really just made one mistake, and it had us die. The werewolf one, which was the second one, does not do that. So maybe the werewolf one is technically a little bit better, but this one has a premise. The werewolf one is just like, what if there's werewolves and they're bad? Yeah, wow, I was expecting a little bit more from that bad boy. So I don't like how it just skipped us to the ending without us knowing what was going on. I think it should have just skipped us directly to the end when we died and just let us start over without giving us the sales pitch. But we have a half hour left, so we'll do some Choose Your Own Adventure stuff. Let me dig through my box. Sure. Choose Your Own Adventure number 66, Secret of the Ninja by Jay Leopold. Let's try that one. I'm running low on Choose Your Own Adventures. I went to a comic swap thing looking for them, and I didn't find any. But after this, since I ate like a monster on vacation, I'm going to go for a long walk. I'm going to walk down to my favorite thrift store and see if they got any Choose Your Own Adventures for me. So but let's do Secret of the Ninja by Jay Leopold and see what happens. Some kid drew an upside down smiley face there. So it's got that authentic touch. This one starts out, a special note on the ninja. I bet this book ends up being racist at some point. So just everyone, just so you know, not great. I'm definitely and I'm definitely gonna do Fighting Fantasy starting next week probably. I loved that, and I'm gonna do more of them. And the character sheet thing I found was really good. I would start one now, but I need to go through and dig, see which one I did. House of Hell is the one that I did last time. And it didn't end well for our character, but was really fun. And there's like goofy details. I love fighting fantasies. And thanks to Twitter user Marksman Shrimp, I have about 50 of them. So that's this video show, the streaming show, will eventually just turn into Fighting Fantasy probably. But I like doing Choose Your Own Adventures as well because they're shorter and they end sooner. Like they're weirder. Like you tend to die more. Okay. The ancient art practiced by the ninja is called ninjutsu, the way of stealth or invisibility. It grew out of many sources, including Japanese fighting arts, bujutsu, Chinese war tactics, Tibetan mystical practices, and Japanese mountain religions. Mountain clans developed the art and passed it secretly from one generation to the next. Because the ninja were commoners, they were not held to the samurai's rigid code of honor, and by subtle means they could accomplish things a samurai could not. Ninjutsu is also a martial art that has always been practiced by both men and women. A ninja has many different skills. Each ryu, tradition or school, has its own mix of techniques taught by the sensei, teacher or master, at the dojo, a lot of italicized words, the physical place where martial arts are practiced. A student might specialize in hand-to-hand fighting, swordsmanship, or the use of various other weapons. He or she might learn how to move without being detected, how to scale walls and trees, how to deceive an enemy with special tactics. Some ninja use their art simply to defend themselves in their villages, others for espionage or commando tactics, and some even become hired assassins. Most of the adventures in this book are drawn from Japanese folk legends and beliefs. According to legend, the ninja were first taught their art by mountain beings known as Tengu, who also taught them sorcery or kuji. Mystic finger positions, trance, and hypnotism help the ninja channel energy. Most ninja use these techniques as part of a spiritual way of living, but some misuse them to manipulate others. There is a glossary, which we're not going to read a glossary. It's several pages long, but Ronin and Sake and Sensei and Seppuku, all those things are here. If we have to, we'll reference the glossary. 3 pages of glossary here. So let's go ahead and start the thing. Thunder crashes and lightning splits the sky above you with such force, it seems the sky will shatter. You run for cover. Rain pours down in sheets, pounding you like a fist. The storm seems to want to destroy everything beneath it. Once inside the sliding doors of the dojo, you stand with your friend Nada. Both of you soaked to the skin, and you watch the storm vent its rage. Another tremendous clap of thunder shakes the building to its foundation. Nada casts a sidelong glance at you as if to say, "See what I mean?" The two of you sit cross-legged on the floor, unable to take your eyes from the tempest outside. "Third one this week," Nada murmurs, "and this is the dry season." The thunder and lightning finally give way to a steady downpour. Nada stands up and says, "Let's get you some dry clothes." You follow her to a back room where she hands you a towel and a kimono. As you dry off and change, you retrace in your mind the history of your friendship with Nada. You'd studied karate in California before spending the summer in Japan. There you met Nada and found you shared many ideas about martial arts. She introduced you to a new discipline called Aikido. A year ago, you moved to the city of Kyoto to pursue Aikido more intensively. You and Nada became best friends. You were sad when Nada returned 3 months ago to her family's dojo in Nara, but you have kept in close touch. Now, as you tie your kimono and prepare to join Nada for tea, you wonder why she called you so urgently to Nara this morning. Turn to page 4. "Strange things have been happening here," Nada says, pouring hot water over the crushed leaves and the teacups. "The storms are just one sign that something's wrong. There's been others." With a reed whisk, she stirs the leaves into a green froth in each cup, and then gives you one. You hold in both hands, letting the warmth seep in. "But even without the signs, I can sense a presence here that is new, yet at the same time ancient." You savor the bitter taste of the tea, and look across the low table at Nada. "Maybe you should start at the beginning." Nada shifts her weight on the reed mat. "About a month ago, I started noticing things disappearing and reappearing in odd places. Then there were weird noises, shrieks, and laughter. Now, this week, the thunder. By themselves, these do not prove anything. It is Saki, which tells me that there is a very powerful force here that wants to destroy us." "Saki?" "A kind of sixth sense I learned in my training many years ago. I can feel the presence of harmful intentions." "Did anything else happen around the time these signs appeared? Any new arrivals or changes in the dojo?" "No, well, yes, there was one new arrival, but not a student. It was a sword. An anonymous donor sent it saying that it was fitting that we should have it. We didn't know what to make of it." "Was there anything unusual about it?" you ask. "To tell the truth, I didn't pay much attention. As you know, I'm not a big fan of weapons, although I have to admit it was beautiful. I do recall some odd markings on the hilt."
"Have you talked to the sensei yet?"
"A little. He refuses to believe we are threatened, but now that you are here, I will ask him to join us." Turn to page 8. The sensei is a slight man with a few wisps of white hair on his head and chin. He bows as Nada introduces you, then sits at the tea table, back straight, waiting for Nada to speak. Surely you are aware of what has been occurring at our dojo lately?
Yes, he replies in an even tone. But we've discussed this. In my opinion, it'll pass if we remain calm.
Didn't you hear the thunder today? Nada insists impatiently.
It is true that in the old days such a storm would be taken as a sign of war, but...
He shrugs. Nada stands up. Sensei, we must do something. Our presence here wants to destroy us. The sensei looks at you.
Surely Nada's mother could see into the future when she named the child that. Do you know what Nada means?
Doesn't it mean rough? Doesn't it mean the rough open part of the sea where navigation is difficult? You ask.
Exactly,
the sensei responds, smiling.
But someday, perhaps when she becomes sensei herself, she will learn patience.
Turn to page 14. Yeah, the time till decision is a little rough in this one because we're still not there. Here's who we're dealing with if everyone wants to see a picture of this crew. Your attention is distracted by several greenish lights the size of fists flickering above the cypresses outside. What are those? You ask. As Nada and the sensei turn to look, a bolt of lightning comes out of nowhere and strikes the tallest tree, splitting it in two. You cringe at the thunderclap that immediately follows. Then there is silence. The sensei looks stunned. Nada is bristling. Now are you convinced? She demands. What more do you need? That was our sacred tree. We must defend ourselves. The sensei bows his head.
Nada, you're right. I didn't think such things were possible in these days. Thunder and lightning attacking us. You would think we were back in the days of our ancestors.
Perhaps, Nada says. The days of our ancestors have come forward to us.
What is it you mean, Nada?
The sensei asks. As I was telling my friend, I feel an ancient presence here. Saki tells me that it is hostile. I don't know how else to explain it. It may be a kami. What's a kami? You ask. It's similar to a spirit, Nada says. Spirits never die, they only circulate. Everyone and everything has a spirit, and the spirit can filter through our world around us. If a kami is bothering us, it's our job to find out what it wants. Turn to page 3. Oh, here we got a choice. Okay. The sensei looks back and forth between you and Nada. Then he places his palms on the table and says,
Nada, you've come from a long line of warriors. Though for many centuries they have practiced their art of peace, not war. I'm old now, and must be the one to confront this danger.
I slipped accents, I'm sorry. I switched to country accent number 2.
Must be the one to confront this danger.
Nada bows to the sensei.
So,
he says, leaning back from the table.
What course of action do you suggest?
There is silence. The rain has stopped. You speak up. Maybe we should take a look at the sword, then try to track down the person who sent it. The sensei nods.
A good plan.
There's another option, Nada says. She hesitates before continuing. I said the present seemed very old. We could go back in time to find its origin. The sensei glances sharply at Nada. She holds up her hand to stop him from speaking and says, I will explain later. Let's just say that we should consider it a possibility. Okay, so should we track down the sword donor, or should we go back in time? Those are the two options. Yeah, time travel is kind of the secret weapon of Choose Your Own Adventures, and by secret weapon I mean the weapon they use all the time. It's their frequent weapon. Okay, we're going back in time. Turn to page 17.
How can you go back in the past? You ask.
Well, Nada says, first I must tell you something. Do you remember when we first met? One of the things that brought us together was our interest in moving beyond aggressive forms of bujutsu, martial arts, in favor of Aikido? We talked about how Aikido provided a way to integrate our physical, mental, and spiritual energies, and how it drew on inner balance to give us not only a means of self-defense, but also a way to live. In your case, it was karate that you had left behind.
And you too,
you put in. That's not entirely true. You see, my family has for many centuries been a ninja clan. I was trained in ninjutsu. It takes a moment for this to sink in. Then you ask, "Why did you stop?"
One never really stops, Nada replies. I just wanted to focus on Aikido. But I did put away my tools of ninjutsu. I was afraid of what was happening, afraid that I was on the violent path. It's the old problem. If you invest too much time in learning the techniques of death, you tend to want to use them. Perhaps someday, when I'm wiser, I will resume my training.
You nod, absorbing this information. You heard amazing stories about the ninja from your mother. In addition to butjutsu, ninja were bujutsu. Thank you. Ninja were supposed to be skilled at stealth, invisibility, and even magic. You'd always been curious to learn more about ninjutsu, and now it turns out your best friend is a ninja.
Okay. My training included Kuji, Nada continues. It's a kind of sorcery that calls up certain forces of the universe. Once you begin to tap into these forces, the stuff the present moment is composed of, matter and time, starts to seem very fragile and also quite changeable. It's like learning to open a door that you didn't know existed.
You would have to understand the principle of Gen. Oh, no, sorry. You'd have to understand the principle of Gen, the sensei says. I didn't realize the sensei was there.
Gen means illusion, Nada explains. Think of the physical world, including our bodies, as a conglomeration that can and will be dissolved. There are ways to slip between the cracks if you can find the right vibration of matter and time. I know this is a very general description, but to go into any more detail would take literally years.
There's only one problem with your plan, Nada, the sensei says. It's too dangerous. You have not practiced Kuji for years, and you know how risky it can be to go into the past.
But it's our best hope, Nada protests. With your help, I think we can pull it off.
At least we could try to find out more about this kami, if that's what it is, before you risk such a thing, the sensei says. How? You ask. Tataragami, he replies. Trance.
But you or I could never be the vehicle, Nada says to the sensei.
That's true, the sensei says. He then looks at you.
It's like being hypnotized, Nada explains to you. The kami is invited to speak through you and let its wants be known, but it is just as dangerous as going to the past, if not more. The kami may possess you.
But we would have Tatsumo, the Shugendo priest, conduct the trance, the sensei counters.
Still, if it's an especially powerful kami,
Nadi's voice trails off. So we can go into the trance, or we can go straight into the past. I feel like we should go into the past. I don't want them to stop and explain anything else to me. So let's go into the past. Page 40. And this might end up killing our ninja, but that's okay. We're closing up on time. And I don't think it would do it in one choice. Okay. I think we should go into the past, you say. But how can I come with you?
Saminjutsu.
Or Shaminjutsu, the sensei answers. Similar to what you'd call hypnotism, only more powerful. It will enable you to accompany Nada. You have one more question. How will I know what time and place to go?
The markings on the sword may help us out, Nada replies. We'll copy them down and take them with us, but it's not like setting a clock. Mainly, the energy vibrating from the kami's presence and the sword will direct us.
Before you go, the sensei says, you'll have to do some preparation. You'll have to learn some basic techniques in ninjutsu. You also need to learn the customs and manners of the past, so you will not seem like too much of a stranger. The next week is spent preparing to set out on your search into the past. During the day, you train in ninjutsu with Nada and the sensei, and at night you study Japanese history. The sensei rummages up some clothes that will enable you to pass for carpenters, which will give you an excuse to be traveling, since farmers were not supposed to leave their land. He also provides you each with a furoshiki, which you can use to carry your gear. Finally, the day arrives. Nada sets you down on a bench in the dojo. After meditating together, she stands opposite you and fixes you with her eyes. Using the techniques of Saminjutsu, she has you count down with her. 9, 8, 7, 6. Yeah, this is moving real fast and slow simultaneously. It is pretty weird. This is a weird one. I like finding the weird ones. So, And some kid, a real greasy boy, had this one. There's those. This kid held those spots open for a long time. The next thing you're aware of is opening your eyes and finding yourself standing beside Nada in a rice paddy. Steep wooded hills rise on either side of you. Let's go, Nada says.
How do we know where to go?
We don't, Nada replies, wading into an embankment.
What do you mean?
You ask. How can we know where to go? We must let ourselves wander, and sooner or later we'll find what we need.
But don't you have a plan?
You insist. Yes, she says. My plan is to wander aimlessly until we find something or someone who looks like they know something. Reluctantly, you follow Nada up the embankment to a road running along the edge of the valley. Until now, Nada has seemed to know exactly what to do next. You begin to wonder what you've gotten yourself into. Where the paddy stops, the valley narrows. All is quiet except for the trickling water of a creek. You're approaching a bend in the road when some wild geese in a pond take off in startled flight. You wonder what has frightened them. Suddenly, you want to dive away from the road. If you grab Nada and dive into the woods, turn to page 6. If you decide that you're just being jumpy, turn to page 82. Yeah, this is... For a time-traveling sorceress ninja, I'm a little bit disappointed in Nada. So shall we had like kind of a bad feeling. Should we jump into the woods or should we chill out? What do you guys think? Frankly, I can see arguments for both. Just being jumpy? So one for jump, one for woods. Usually I just kind of decide whichever one gets 2. When in doubt, jump. So we're jumping. Okay, turn to page 6. Okay. A split second after you grab Nada's arm and dive into the woods, a wall of flame erupts on the road and a net lands over the spot where you were. From nowhere appear 5 ninja, armed with all manner of swords, staffs, and blades. Nada pieces together a bow from her furoshiki and disables 2 of the ninjas with arrows. Wow. Before others detect your position in the bushes. They split up, 2 going to the right and 1 going to the left. Nada tilts her head to the right, indicating she'll take those 2. You nod, and she disappears. You find a depression in the forest floor and burrow into it. You cover yourself with leaves and twigs, and then wait for... This is escalating really fast. With leaves and twigs, and wait for the other ninja. The foot is next to your face almost before you know it. You grab it and push it out from under the ninja, sending him to the ground. You sit up and pivot to pin him, but he springs to his feet and draws his sword. With shock, you realize that's the sword from Nada's dojo. You meet his attack with a Kido defense, grabbing the ninja's sword arm with your left hand. You bring it down to your right hand, across your left leg, and up over your right shoulder. The sword flies off to your right, and your attacker hits the ground. For a moment, you hesitate between getting the sword while it's loose and preventing the ninja from rising again. Do we go for the sword, or do we go for the ninja? Sword or ninja? Sword or ninja? Sword or ninja? We've got to decide now. Want to vote for sword? Yeah, I don't actually know what happened with that. So it's 2 votes for sword, so we're going for the sword. Yeah, I also did not like the blocking in that scene. Okay, 18. You retrieve the sword and face the ninja. He's on the ground, staring at you. You feel you've been looking into 2 lifeless, bottomless wells. You try to look away, but you can't. Nada makes her attack on the other 2 ninja, but you're frozen. The ninja yells a code word, causing the other 2 to duck away from Nada and retreat to their injured comrades on the road. Helplessly, you watch as he then takes the sword from your hand and escapes with his accomplices. Well, fuck. Nada immediately sees your condition when she comes to check on you. She twists her fingers in a series of Kuji signs, and slowly your nervous system recovers.
Don't let them get away, you gasp. They have the sword, the same sword that was sent to the dojo.
Nada rushes after them, but soon returns. They've disappeared, she says. You and Nada find a place in the woods to camp and to recuperate from the fight. Over a dinner of rice and vegetables, you discuss what happened.
We must have just stumbled onto an attack that was meant for someone else,
you say. Yes, Nada agrees, or they wouldn't have left without finishing the job.
At least we know who has the sword, you say. I guess all we can do tomorrow is try to find where they came from.
In the morning, you set off down the road. Like most roads in feudal Japan, The one running through the valley is narrow, made mainly for horse and foot travel. After a few miles, you come into a larger valley. You wade across a wide, shallow river. On the other side, the road ends at an intersection. To your left, mountains rise in the distance. To your right, the valley widens. You and Nada stand at the branching paths. I don't know which direction is better, Nada says. You choose. So left towards the mountains or right towards the valley. This seems kind of arbitrary, so I'm just going to say valley. So we can get out on time. We will probably, I mean, unless we die soon, we probably won't get out on time, but so we're not too late. No one in the villages along the way seems to know anything about the ninja. Then you come to a drab, unhappy little hillside village. The people look frightened when you ask about the sword. Talk to Hitoshi, they say. By afternoon, you find Hitoshi, a thin young man with darting eyes. You describe the ninja who attacked you, and Nada asks Hitoshi if he's seen them. You found them, Hitoshi replies. He gestures to a valley above the village. They live in that castle up there, but you can never reach it by yourselves. I can take you if you pay. You're about to protest that you have nothing to pay with when Nada says, We'll pay you, but not until we see the castle for ourselves. Hitoshi considers this and then nods. We must wait until dark, he says. He takes you and Nada to a secluded spot hidden by cedar trees. Stay here until I come get you at dark. After Hitoshi is gone, you turn to Nada and say, I don't trust him, do you? Not very much, no, she concedes, but I don't know what else to do. He pointed out where the castle is, you say. Maybe we could find it ourselves. I doubt it, Nada replies. I'm sure there are many trick paths and traps. It's not easy to track a ninja. So do we wait for Hitoshi, or do we try to do it on our own? Frankly, I can see arguments for both. Hitoshi has darting eyes. The storm is the spirit that's in the past attacking the future. So one vote for on our own. Hitoshi did sound like a good old boy who was up to no good. Started making trouble in his neighborhood. So one more vote. So we wait for him. So we got 2 votes for trusting Hitoshi. So we'll trust Hitoshi. We wait for Hitoshi. Turn to page 50. You settle in under the cedars to wait for Hitoshi's return. Slowly, dusk comes, then twilight. You and Nada sit very still, attentive to the sounds of approach. Listen, Nada says. What? The insects are all quiet, all of a sudden. But her warning is too late. The attack comes from behind. You're knocked over by a blow to your head, but you react immediately by rolling out of the way of the chain of your ninja attacker as he tries to entangle you. You spring to your feet, assuming the defensive posture, keeping low so that you can make out his shape against the stars. He feints with the chain, then aims a front kick at your head. You cut inside his kicking leg and swing your left leg out in a wide arc, catching his kicking leg in the air and bringing him to the ground. He jumps to his feet and disappears into the woods. Nada is moaning on the ground a few feet away. You rush to her side. I guess you were right about Hitoshi, she says, groaning. He set us up. They obviously wanted to take us prisoner, or they would have killed us right away. We were lucky we could fight them off. But the one who attacked me got me with his sword. You're going to have to go on without me. We have to get you help first, you insist. Turn to page 34. You pick up Nada and carry her towards the village. An old woman going by asks, What happened to your friend? I'm out of voices. You hesitate for a moment, wondering if you should trust her, then say, She's hurt, a sword wound. Do you know someone who can help her? I can, the woman says. Come with me. You follow her to a little hut away from the road. She tells you that her name is Nikia, and that she is a widow. In the hut, she arranges a place for Nada, then pushes you away, saying, Let me look at that wound. After she inspects it, she announces, The cut is bad. I think I can treat it. She'll have to stay here for several days. I'll get the necessary things. While Nikia is gone, Nadia whispers to you, still in pain, There's only one hope for us. I can give you some of my powers. You must go to the castle and try to find out who the sword belongs to and what is causing the attack on the dojo. But you must go right away. You only have my powers for a short while. You nod. Using the last of her strength, Nada fixes you with her eyes and hypnotizes you. After she snaps out of it, she says before passing out, "Go quickly. Do not worry about me. Nikya will help me." Turn to page 38. You run out into the night, back to the palace, the place under the cedars. You choose the ninjutsu tools you think you'll need, then return to the valley Hatoshi pointed out. Suddenly, the castle looms ahead. You can't believe that you've reached it this quickly. You go around to the back of the castle and strap on your climbing claws to your hands and your feet. The long climb up the castle wall puts you inside the compound, but you must still, now it's moving really quick, now you must still get to the main tower of the castle. You move through the outer courtyards with phantom steps, hiding in the shadows. When you reach the inner court, you throw a kaganawa, a rope with a grapple at the end, up to the window. The grapple catches on the window ledge, and you climb up. Just below, you stop and listen for sounds from inside. There are none, so you climb up through the window. Inside, you wait for several minutes, listening intently to the background noises in the castle. When you're satisfied that no one is near, you begin searching the room. You can't believe your luck. The room is full of ninja battle gear, including the sword. Your first influence is to escape with the sword while you can, but then you wonder if you shouldn't stay and spy instead, in order to get to the bottom of the mystery. So, do we escape with the sword, or do we stay and spy to get to the bottom of the mystery? Thoughts? Thoughts, everybody? One vote for escape for sword. Escape with sword. One vote for spy. This is a spy breaker. Vote spy breaker tiebreaker. Waiting has only ever gotten you ambushed. Spy sounds reckless, therefore spy. Okay, so we got 2 votes for sticking around, despite any arguments against. We are going to stick around. It might get us killed, but that's fine. 49. You should always play every role-playing game like you're driving a car you stole. You search the room, then move down the hall silently. Every few steps, you stop to listen. You check each of the rooms along the way. In one room, you make an important discovery, a scroll describing the exploits of the owner of the castle, Sanshiro Miyamotori. You try to think why the name is familiar. Then you realize it's part of the knowledge Nada gave you. Somehow, you know that the Miyamotori were longtime enemies of Nada's family, the Kuriyama. You freeze as you hear footsteps in the hall. The door opens. You leap straight up 12 feet and grab onto a rafter. 2 men look into the room. One of them says, "We'd better get back to the Jonin's chamber. He'll be returning soon." As soon as the door closes, you drop soundlessly to the floor and decide to follow the 2 men who you think must be Sanshiro's bodyguards. You're sure Sanshiro is the Jonin, or head man. You shadow the 2 men through the corridors of the castle. Finally, they reach the entrance to Sanshiro's chamber, which is guarded by 2 more men. After they pass through it, you reveal yourself to the guards at the door. They move to attack you, but you hold up your hand and stop them with a look from your eyes. You go straight to the small room to the left side of the chamber and open the sliding doors. The 2 men you followed, plus 2 more, stare at you. Before they can move, you hypnotize them with a series of Kuji signs. You close the sliding doors, sit beside them, and wait for Sanshiro to arrive. Turn to page 36. Soon you hear Sanshiro take his place on the platform at the head of the chamber. "The spy has arrived," he says. "Excellent, send him in." A minute later, Sanshiro says, "So what news do you bring from the Kuriyama?" You listen closely. "Very important news," the spy says to Sanshiro. "Dana Kuriyama is on his way to fight you. He says he can no longer allow you to terrorize the countryside." Sanshiro laughs. "Good for him. I'm glad my old enemy comes to face me. With my sword, I have no reason to fear him." "He's not far from here," the spy goes on dumbly. "We think he'll arrive tomorrow morning." "Very good," Sanshiro says. "But I'll not wait around for him. In the morning I'll meet him, and wherever we meet, we'll do battle." You continue to listen, but nothing more about the sword or Dana Kuriyama is mentioned. Sanshiro dismisses the spy and his other lieutenants. Only you and the hypnotized guards remain hidden in the side room. You try to decide what to do. Tomorrow's confrontation between Senshiro and Nada's ancestor, Dana, may provide the key to the mystery, but you wonder if you should wait that long. Maybe you should confront Senshiro now while he's alone. We're going to confront Senshiro because we're 5 minutes after time. And it might kill us. Turn to page 71. Yeah, this is reckless, but I'm way into it. You burst out of the side room and crouch before Senshiro in the defensive posture. Before you can attack, though, something on the ground erupts into billows of smoke. You catch sight of Senshiro jumping into a trapdoor in the ceiling. You follow and find yourself in a passageway built into the ceiling. It leads to the parapet of the castle. Senshiro is nowhere to be found. You think over the situation and realize that he has lured you to a place where he will have the greatest advantage. He knows every ledge of the castle top, while you're in new territory. There is one hope. You must find Ku, the void, and empty yourself of all preconceptions, illusions, and even willpower, so that you will be completely aware and ready for his attack. It comes from the side you least expect. Senshiro knocks you down with a crushing kidney kite. I don't know what that means. You go limp as he comes to kick you over the edge. Your lack of resistance so surprises him that he catches his foot underneath you and pitches himself over the edge himself. You get out of the castle quickly and arrive exhausted at Nikia's hut and tell Nada what happened. I'm glad you defeated Senshiro, she says, but I'm worried that we haven't found the exact source of the disturbances at the dojo. I'm also worried we may have altered history. We'll have to go back right away, Nada decides. I guess all we can do is hope that whatever you did has taken care of the problem. The end? So we won? This is kind of a bad choose your own adventure. It's interesting. There's lots of things to it, but it's like, it's real wrapped up in the detail, like in teaching you about different tools and stuff, and winning and then not knowing what happened in the future. Like, we went back and altered the past. Don't you want to know what happened? I want to go back and find out what happened, but we don't get to know. And kind of a bummer. So, and yeah, exactly, Frank. Or again, like, Nada was the one who had us go back in time. Like, what, were we not going to alter history? This girl needs to see the butterfly effect. Thanks everybody for watching. As always, I really appreciate it. I should be back next week. I think up until Milwaukee Midwest Gaming Classic, I should be able to do every Friday. And, if you like these, you can find them on YouTube. And if you missed any of them, they all show up on YouTube eventually. And eventually the audio will pop up. I don't know what to do with it. Ta-da. Okay. Thanks everybody for watching, and good night. Thanks, Yosarian. Good night, everybody.